Hello, Facebook, YouTube. The day of Satel, the archangel God is our prayer. Nope, not Thor. He's a false god. Stop worshiping false gods and goddesses. But the topic of the message, Happy Thanksgiving. Now, this topic I'm finna talk about that I need a lot of time on this video thing that God want me to reveal about the ideal of what the kingdom of darkness is all about doing. You know what I'm saying? What's going on right now? Because as you know, I tell you, I do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers and rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places. And I'm all about exposing what Satan has been doing for a while. I mean, what's been doing and what leads up to the moment. Now, what I'm going to talk about is about see, here's the thing. Satan has a plot. God has a plan. Now, God told me the two P's, have in common on God's plot and Satan's plan means purpose. Everything serves a purpose. Whatever Satan do in his plot, going to serve a purpose. Whatever God is going to do in his plan, going to serve a purpose. See, darkness is not just doing something just to do something. What are you finna find out in this video? They are preparing for something that is, way more far-fetched than you can ever imagine, describe. But that's why I'm finna teach this message. Now, I'm finna talk about Orion and Ophiuchus that, I talk about because it's important. The reality of Orion or Ophiuchus plan, pretty much. I'm finna talk to you about that because this Ophiuchus is coming up in November 29th. And the thing is, that is very important. It's a very important constellation to darkness that they don't want to tell you. It's the 13th sign of the zodiac. 13, you know how to use the 13s. Yeah. The thing is, it's all about ideal, talking about the snake is called a serpent bearer, serpent holder, holding pretty much. Now, what you got to understand about God made a prophecy at the beginning, about the seed of the woman shall bruise the serpent head. You know what I'm saying? That's a spiritual prophecy that's based upon the zodiac. The zodiac is really God's calendar. You know what I'm saying? It's the high calendar. You know what I'm saying? God created that calendar and gave it to Enoch. Enoch brung down to God's calendar. But right now, as you're going to find out in this video, that darkness is took over for God's calendar and utilizing it and perverting it and twisting it for this dark plan that I'm going to describe. All right, I got to go through a little history lesson. Well, I'm finna go to Orion. I'm finna talk about Orion. Now, but the one thing I looked up Orion on Google, it talks about this one thing, that Orion was a mighty hunter. And I believe Orion existed, and I believe that it existed before the flood. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, in Orion, they say Orion was used for Zeus, as a helper for Zeus for some apparent reason. But one thing was important to know, that Orion was a mighty hunter. Now, all of a sudden, of course, flood came, zoop, wiped out the people, and now darkness is coming back and trying to do something again. You get this person, Nimrod. Nimrod comes along. Now, what was Nimrod known as? Yes, a mighty hunter. Why he was a mighty hunter? See, in the spirit realm, what they do is, the ideal is, in order for them to try to get back in the earth, the spirit to natural earth, they get people to be the certain, people that they were in the day. Like Orion was a mighty hunter. He raised, Nimrod became a mighty hunter. And now what happens is, what Nimrod is doing is he becoming Orion. He's becoming Orion, that he's utilizing the power of Orion to more likely get back the position of darkness against God. And of course, God foiled it by confusing the language. But, they weren't building the Tower of Babel not just to rebel against God, but really is about teaching men to have a desire to rebel against God. Is to what the spell was, is to get people to develop a desire, all people around the world, to have a desire within inside the seed. See the seed of the serpent, see the seed of the woman, the seed have an idea to want to rebel against God. Is what they were really, Nimrod were using Nimrod, the gods and goddesses using Nimrod to get people to have that idea. And God made them different languages. Now they can't communicate, and now that communication can bring confusion. But anyway, here's the thing about what happened to Nimrod. I have a map. I want you to see this real quick so you can get the logistics of what I'm going to talk about. Now you see that Nimrod was, it said Shem, God told Shem to kill Nimrod for his, rebellious and disobedience. And he went and killed Nimrod, and he cut his body into pieces. And the thing is, but they said that Nimrod, they took his parts and stuff like that and put in other places. Semiramis did that to, now he was transformed to more likely the Baal. That's why the worship of Baal. That's why they get, Baal worship from Nimrod. Nimrod's Baal. And there he's a sun god. And the key thing is to understand the sun god idea. The sun god. Now, all of a sudden, next is pretty much, now I've been talking about Egypt, that of course the Egyptians did not build the pyramids. They're built perfectly. I said the Sethians built the pyramids. The descendants of Seth concerning Cain killed Abel, and Adam and Eve had Seth. The Sethians built the pyramids, and they built them perfect to establish the pillars of the Lord that you can find in Isaiah 19. The pillars of the Lord that, connected heaven and earth together. And I heard, and God showed me that, you hear in the scriptures, Isaiah talks about it. Isaiah and David talks about the idea of the witnesses of heaven. Now, God taught me that the pillars of the Lord was utilized to take the Sethians, and they used to zoom up to the first and the second and third heaven. And God used to give angels to tour around the first and second and third heaven. They didn't go to the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and seventh. They went to the third parts of the heavens and toured around it, and they used to come down on the pillars of the Lord, and they used to become witnesses to the people at that time to tell them and to urge them to preach to them and say, hey, there's something better than what is on earth. But they were drunk, hungry, crazy of power and evil and all kind of stuff. That's why God had to flood the place, because of their evil and wickedness. And the thing is, now what happens is now the descendants of Ham comes to pretty much took the place, and the gods sent them there to destroy the place. And of course, the Sphinx was a lion. They carved their face on there and did all kind of stuff to it, and they desecrated it pretty much and made it of darkness. They made the place of darkness and utilize it, and that's why they don't want you to find that out at Egypt, because they want you to believe that it was about Osiris and stuff like that. Give me the Osiris. Now Osiris tried to make Osiris the gods and goddesses out of Nimrod. They did the same thing with Nimrod. They're going to do with Osiris. They're trying to deify him as Nimrod concerning the Orion. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to come in through as Ophiuchus. You know what I'm saying? The serpent holder. More likely, pretty much they're going to take care of the seed of the serpents. You wonder why they wear the serpent, on their headdress. Yeah. The thing is, they're taking care of the seed of the serpent, and now, but the Seth, the descendants of Seth, gets and defeats Osiris, cuts up the body of Osiris. See a pattern going on? Nimrod got his body cut up. Osiris got his body cut up. And they, more likely put together the body parts of Osiris and constructed the idea of Osiris. And they, of course, they took the penis of Osiris, and Isis had a baby called Horus. And it's like the Horus, kind of idea. And Nimrod had Titmos. Titmos and Horus come together. And funny that Titmos and Horus is being known to have the birthday on December 25th. Yeah. The thing is, so they come together, and now they become one. They two become one. Two become one. Now, I want you to see those circles coming together. And people know sacred geometry, know what those mean. These are powers. Two powers become one. Now, I want to use the idea of the 9/11, the Twin Towers. The 9/11 Twin Towers, of course, sacrifices, and they were used to destroy same thing, Osiris, Nimrod. They are considered as two pillars, Osiris and Nimrod and Osiris. Two pillars get destroyed and now become one. See, they got one building in New York City. Yeah. The thing that's called the one, world building. They all become one. And what happens is, what you don't realize, that becomes a key, and a key of darkness. Now, as you people that looked at 9/11, you kind of saw in the smoke, you saw evil faces in there. They were, conducting a, evil sacrifice of becoming one, concerning the key of unlocking the dark powers that are in the heavens. Now, the Bible talks about there's principalities and powers in the heavens in Ephesians 3. It's evil powers in the heaven. And the thing is, what they're trying to do, the ideal of the rulers of darkness, of course, is trying to get people to do the key rule of Jesus said, whatsoever you bind on earth is bound in heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth is loose in heaven. What the whole ideal of the kingdom of darkness is to get people to love the earth. Of course, love people, love things. Seek after people and things. Seek after people and things. There's advertising commercials and all this stuff. To keep the heaven shut up. Not loose the earth and loose heaven. Keep heaven loosed up in earth. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Bible, Jesus said, if you deny yourself, if you lose your life, God will give you a better life. We need to just loose our life, and that he give us great life, you know what I'm saying, to lose heaven, to come on earth. That's what the whole ideal of Christianity is supposed to be all about, is to bring forth the Sabbath. That's what they're trying to stop, the Sabbath not coming on earth. And now the ideal of what's going on now, this idea of Ophiuchus, third